All right, let's dive right into this fascinating explainer. Today, we're unpacking a breakthrough that fixes a really massive blind spot in how artificial intelligence actually understands our world. We're going to be exploring a new research paper on causally ordered generative training, or COGT, which completely rethinks how AI models connect visual images with human language. So, I know it sounds completely ridiculous, right? I mean, grass eating a horse? But seriously, top-tier AI models genuinely struggle to tell the difference between a scenario where the horse is eating the grass and one where the grass is eating the horse. Despite all their massive processing power, when it comes down to the intricate details of who is doing what to whom, these cutting-edge systems just get totally confused. And this perfectly illustrates what researchers call the bag of words problem. Think about those two sentences for a second. They contain the exact same words. But standard vision language models often treat a sentence simply as an unordered jumble of terms. They recognize a horse, they recognize grass, and they recognize eating, sure, but they completely lose the critical context of the grammatical structure. They just don't grasp the composition. To see how researchers actually fixed this by teaching AI the rules of human grammar, we'll follow this quick roadmap. First, the VLM blind spot, then fixing the bag of words, diving into causal graphs and trees, checking out the brown bird example, doing more with less, and finally, the future of vision language AI. Okay, starting with part 1, the VLM blind spot, AI's grammar problem. So we all rely pretty heavily on vision language models, or VLMs, right? Things like CLIP. They're basically the backbone of modern AI search and image generation. But here's the catch. Their standard training method, called contrastive loss, essentially squishes down a whole image and a whole sentence into a tiny mathematical summary. And in that massive compression, crucial fine-grained relationships are totally sacrificed. The core issue here, as the researchers point out, is that without understanding the exact order and relationships of words, the VLM's reasoning completely falls apart. If an AI doesn't know that specific adjectives modify specific nouns, or that verbs have clear subjects and objects, well, it's really just guessing based on the overall vibe of the text. Moving on to Section 2, fixing the bag of words, moving beyond the jumble. Think about it like this. If standard AI treats a sentence like dumping a pile of Lego bricks on the floor, where words like red, car, fast, and drives are just scattered everywhere, this new method, COGT, gives the AI the actual instruction manual. It explicitly maps out the dependencies, so the AI knows for sure that red snaps directly onto car. Which brings us to Section 3, causal graphs and trees, the hidden architecture of language. So, how do you actually feed that instruction manual into a neural network? Well, instead of forcing the AI to predict words in a strict left-to-right English reading order, the researchers use a dependency parser. This parser automatically maps out the sentence into a dependency tree, showing exactly which words depend on each other structurally. The noun is the parent, the adjective is the child. It reveals the true hidden skeleton of the sentence. And what's really brilliant is how this dependency tree is then converted into a causal graphical model, meaning instead of just predicting a sequence, they teach the AI to wait. It literally cannot predict a child word until it has already established its specific parent word. It learns that the adjective is causally dependent on the noun it modifies. Let's see this in action. Section 4, the brown bird example, putting the theory into practice. Okay, picture the sentence, a brown bird has a small yellow head. In a standard left-to-right AI model, the system is forced to predict the word brown before it even knows that the word bird is coming. Since a million things in an image could be brown, the AI is practically flying blind. It's incredibly inefficient. But with this cautiously ordered generative training, the AI gets smart. It waits. It identifies the main subject first, the bird. Only after the bird is locked in does it look for the dependent attribute, brown. Then it identifies the object, head, and only then predicts small and yellow in parallel. It perfectly matches how human logic actually constructs reality. To pull this off, the team built a custom decoder with something called dependency-guided attention. It uses masked embeddings that act as placeholders for specific grammatical types, ensuring the AI's attention is strictly constrained by those grammatical rules during training. It can't cheat. It has to follow the causal graph. All right, Section 5, doing more with less. A real David versus Goliath scenario in AI training. So the theory is elegant, but does it actually yield better results? Well, across 5 major compositional benchmarks, testing things like swapping objects, changing colors, and even fine-grained object detection, the COGT model absolutely crushes the competition. Just look at the jump compared to something like DAC LLM, which was already a top-tier approach. To put that into perspective, applying this COGT training method to a standard clip base led to a massive 12.27-point average improvement over highly advanced models. In the AI benchmarking world, that is a huge leap in accuracy. And the best part is the work smarter, not harder reality of it all. By enforcing these causal dependencies, the AI avoids getting tricked by spurious correlations, like assuming yellow always goes with bird just because they appeared together once. Because it actually learns the underlying rules, it beats out competitors trained on datasets that are orders of magnitude larger. It's efficiency at its finest. Now, to be totally impartial here, there are limitations we should note. This whole setup is entirely dependent on the accuracy of that off-the-shelf dependency parser. If the parser makes a mistake and draws the wrong grammatical tree, the AI's causal graph is flawed right out of the gate. Plus, it focuses on sparse linguistic connections, which means it might miss out on highly complex or really non-standard phrasing. Finally, Section 6, the future of vision language AI. Where do we go from here? By proving that explicit syntactic rules drastically improve a model's reasoning, this framework could revolutionize so many fields. Imagine industrial object detection that never confuses a red gear on a blue table with a blue gear on a red table. Or think about robots that actually understand complex verbal instructions safely. It could even be integrated into massive foundation models to finally cure those frustrating hallucinations caused by the bag of words effect. It really leaves us with a profound final thought to chew on. As the tech world races to make AI models bigger and bigger, throwing just oceans of data at them, what if the real secret to true comprehension isn't scale at all? What if it's simply teaching the machine how to properly read the instruction manual of human thought? Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I really hope you found it as fascinating as I did.